All right, so we are GAME1014, the winter 2017 semester here at George Brown College. And today we're talking about lesson 1. Again, my name is Tom. I'll be your instructor for this semester. What was that?
Hey, Tom.
Hi. And what we're going to really start talking about first is Slack. So if you don't know what Slack is, because this is one of the tools that I'm going to be using to communicate with you, if I can actually type. So Slack is a collaboration tool that we've been using. I have a link up on GitHub, a Blackboard for you guys to connect with me. So why do I use it? I use it for all my classes, and I got several classes that I'm teaching this semester. So what we do is when we connect with Slack, you can send me a direct text message, right? You can set Slack up on your phone and your machine. I recommend it. It's probably one of the best tools I've used over the last couple of years in terms of integrations. Things like, for example, like I said, GitHub. Yeah, you can integrate GitHub with Slack. It's a great team tool. And the great thing about this is if for whatever reason you miss class that day, right? But you want to still be part of the group discussion, I'm going to check Slack for any kind of questions and those kind of things as we record, right? Again, I'm going to be broadcasting, so worst case scenario, you can always stay at home that particular day. And by the way, I'm not saying stay at home and don't come to class. No. I'm saying, what if it's a snowstorm, or what if something happens, or what if not all of you can make it because everyone has different commitments that day, right? Then at least you can catch the YouTube video, worst case scenario, right? Especially when it comes to organizational stuff. Now, there's going to be some things that it's just impossible for you to miss class. Like, for example, there's going to be several releases that we're going to be talking about that you're going to be presenting, in class. So that's going to require you to be in class that day, the entire team. All right, so Slack is what I'm going to be using. I'm also going to be using Blackboard. I'm not going to not use Blackboard because Slack is there. There's going to be announcements on Blackboard at the same time as Slack. I kind of mirror those two things, especially if there's any things like due date changes or any kind of things about your midterm exam or anything like that. They're going to be reflected both on Blackboard and on Slack. Course outline. Let's take a look at this. This is a game production course. This is part 2 of something that you guys started last semester, right? So in terms of our weekly topics, again, even though it says production cycle and production techniques this week, I'm going to be talking about this week as a setup. We're going to be still using the same book, but again, the main things that I want you to take from this outline is all the stuff that we're going to be required to produce in terms of releases. So we have several releases that the weeks require, and at the same time that I'm going to be showing you some tools to help you build your game, and you can see some of this stuff. Like, for example, your alpha is due week 9, right? And then by week 13, your beta, and finally your final release, or the release that you're going to be presenting on the final week of class, you're going to have that ready. And we're going to do several checkpoints throughout the entire time. So whenever I get together with you, you and your team, and again, I'd like you to try and sit together as much as possible. I'm going to come over. I'm going to talk to your team. I'm going to see your work. And I want to kind of get an idea of how you're progressing with your game as you're moving through this semester. Again, so today is pure setup, and we're going to have 2 parts to the average class. So we're going to start off with a bit of game production, again coming from your textbook, right? Same textbook, I believe, as last semester. And then we're going to do a piece that is technical, right? And that's the piece where I want to try and help you with your JavaScript code, your TypeScript. All that stuff to get you ready to go, so that way you can get the best game, kind of in production compared to some of the other sections. And I want to make it a healthy competition. I want to kind of see if you guys can really produce something this semester, right? And again, things on the midterm, the stuff we're going to cover on the midterm exam is going to be a little bit of the stuff that we're talking about in class, technical, like, for example, TypeScript, CreateJS. I'm asking you a few questions there, but I'm also going to ask you some questions related to game production, because that's what this class is all about. Okay, so again, you can find this outline. It's going to be up on Blackboard in the course information section, as well as your content section. Questions about this? So this is kind of like a high-level overview of exactly what we're going to be doing, and we're going to be covering all these topics throughout the semester. No questions. That's fantastic. Okay, we're moving on. I'm also going to be sharing my code with you up on GitHub, right? So I'm asking you to use GitHub. I'm going to be using GitHub too, right? Now, as you can see, there's nothing up there right now because this is the first time I'm teaching at George Brown College, right? But if you look me up, again, I teach at other institutions. I got lots and lots of code up online that you can see. And if you look at my YouTube videos, I cover everything from iOS, C#, name the language, Java. I've taught many, many things over the years, right? But in this particular course, we're going to put up all of my code is going to be up on here, right? So if you were going to find my code, you go to github.com/George Brown College, and there it is. Now, for the first link, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this link and I'm going to drop it into your Slack channel. And if you notice the Slack channel, the way I've set it up is there's 3 sub-channels. One is developer, if you guys can see that. There's general, and there's random, right? Please put if you're going to put things like cat pictures and your favorite thoughts of the day or whatever, put that in random, okay? Let's keep it out of the general channel. General is really for our announcements, that kind of stuff relating to the course, right? Anything that I'm going to show you is going to be up on general. Any kind of links I share with you is going to be on general. Developers, for any kind of code snippets that you guys want to share with each other, which is totally cool. You can also use Slack for direct messaging. So if you want to send messages to your classmates or whatever, your team members. And this is a great tool, so that way you can use this to kind of share code and that kind of thing. So Slack is kind of an amalgam of a bunch of different tools all in one. It's kind of like text messaging. It's kind of like you're sharing code, so code snippets. It's a bunch of things, and that's why companies these days really love Slack, right? It's a good thing to put up on your resume that you've used Slack and you kind of you run your team with Slack. All right, so I'm just going to drop this kind of link. This is the GitHub link for this course. So we'll say GitHub link. And that'll give you the ability, if you guys go in there, you can actually, any kind of links I'm going to share with you are going to be here in the general channel. All right, so that's GitHub, that's Slack and GitHub. All right, we're going to be talking about this, CreateJS today. And CreateJS, I find, is a very flexible suite of libraries, right? So why do I use CreateJS? Why am I just not doing HTML5 Canvas direct, right? Yeah, you can totally do that. And I'm not going to stop you. Remember, I'm trying to be your mentor here to help you build your game out, right? But there's a lot of libraries out there that can help you build it faster, right? And especially when you're working with, a bunch of other people in your team, the opportunity here is that you can use a suite of libraries that is been used in the industry for everything from making games to making banner ads. It handles things like animation. The performance is good, and it's been tested very, very thoroughly. It's not a game engine. I'm not going to call it a game engine like Unity, as an example, or like Unreal. It's not that kind of game engine, right? Because it's just a suite of libraries on, again, on just pure JavaScript, right? Now you might ask me, why not Phaser, Tom? Phaser is a very popular, kind of game engine more than let's say CreateJS. I like Phaser. I have no problem with Phaser. The problem that if I was going to choose between the two, between CreateJS and Phaser, CreateJS is more flexible. It's not as opinionated as Phaser when it comes to kind of your structure, how you build things out. So that's why I'm choosing CreateJS to demonstrate the kind of the tool sets that I recommend that you use. Again, you don't have to use it. Your final build can use whatever JavaScript library or kind of your homegrown vanilla JavaScript that you want to use. All right. I'm just giving you a tool set that might help you. Again, if I was going to talk about CreateJS from a history perspective, it originally started with Adobe, right? It was an original library from Grant Skinner, is the kind of the person who made CreateJS, and he worked for Adobe for years. Now he has his own little shop, but he's the originator of ActionScript for the most part. He's done Action. So if you know ActionScript and Flash, then you'll be very comfortable with CreateJS. It's very similar in terms of syntax and styling, right? So that's the other reason why I choose this, because if you're a Flash person, which hopefully you won't be anymore because Flash is kind of dead. I hate to say that. Now it's something else, right? It's Adobe Animate, right? But if you look at the CreateJS suite of libraries, the tool sets around CreateJS are very similar. The way the syntax is and the class structure and everything else is very similar. So there's 4 sub-libraries, if you will, or a suite of products that we're going to download and install. So Easel.js is the stuff that deals with your canvas. I'm going to stand up. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me still. So Easel.js is all your canvas stuff. Tween.js, if you want to do little animations, any kind of transitions and all that kind of stuff, that's Tween. Sound.js speaks for itself. preload is really cool because it allows you to preload all your assets, sound, as well as texture maps, anything like that. That's for preloading all your assets, and it's really, really efficient. It's really cool. So that's the library that I'm going to be talking about today. And I'm also going to be talking about TypeScript. TypeScript is something that's been on the rise, I would say, for the last couple of years. Who knows anything about AngularJS? Anybody? Angular, right? AngularJS is something that's been supported by Google. They've made a front-end library for web development, right? Anyway, so they were looking for a partner to help them develop AngularJS, and Microsoft came up with TypeScript. TypeScript, and now you might say, well, what if this is just the next kind of iteration for Microsoft, and who cares because it's going to die? Huge support from the community, TypeScript, right? It's being used all over the place. And the great thing about TypeScript, like I said earlier, is it allows you to create almost like an object-oriented feel for all your JavaScript projects. The biggest complaints we get from a developer when they use and they learn JavaScript is that it's spaghetti code. It's unorganized. It's not. There's no typing. How do I use this thing? It doesn't make any sense, right? I'd rather use C#. I'd rather make a Unity project or Unity game. Yes, I hear those things all the time, but I'm telling you, you can make awesome stuff with JavaScript using TypeScript, and TypeScript will enable you to use the latest ECMAScript 6 features cross-browser, which is awesome. So everyone knows what ECMAScript 6 is, I'm hoping? ECMAScript 6. JavaScript, right? JavaScript right now, the latest version of JavaScript is ECMAScript 6. That's where it comes from, okay? ECMAScript 6, ECMAScript is what JavaScript and a lot of other languages, especially Java and even C#, they take from ECMAScript. Right now, they're all C-influenced languages. Okay, so when you learn C++, C#, Java, JavaScript, whatever it is you learn, they're all the C-influenced language. It comes from the original C language back in the day, right? Other than Swift, I can say that I can talk about Swift, from the new language Apple developed. It's kind of C-influenced, but you'd be forgiven to think that it's like all the other languages. It's not. But the other ones we're talking about, Java, C#, C++, and JavaScript, they're all C influenced. But there's a back standard. It's called ECMAScript. ECMAScript is what kind of sets the standard for JavaScript and the syntax, the feature sets, if you will, for JavaScript, right? So up until now, until last year, 2015, we were ECMAScript 5, and ECMAScript 6 came out in July of 2015. So you might hear it as ECMAScript 2015, or the latest version of ECMAScript. And ECMAScript is what JavaScript is based on. So we didn't have classes, the keyword let, and a bunch of other feature sets that were released until last year. And even now, it's not 100% compatible cross-browser. So if you're making a JavaScript game, you got to make sure that it's cross-compatible across every browser. And so what TypeScript allows us to do is, because it's a compiled language, right? It allows us to make, to take JavaScript, give it superpowers, object orientation, object-oriented design, and then convert it back into ECMAScript 5 if you want it. So it's cross-browser compatible, which is kind of cool. One of the competitors of TypeScript was CoffeeScript. Actually, it was something that they came up with a couple of years back, right? CoffeeScript is on the wane, TypeScript is on the rise, and there's other languages like that, or pre-compiled languages like Go, and other languages that kind of help you with the web. Any questions so far about CreateJS or TypeScript? Because those are the two kind of feature sets or features that we're going to be using, and I'm going to be talking about them starting today, right? If you know TypeScript, by the way, it's a great resume booster, right? TypeScript is, not everyone knows how to do TypeScript. Not everyone knows how to really use GitHub. We're going to be talking about those things today. So it's going to be something that's going to help you.
I look forward to watching the rest of your recorded lessons.
All right.
And you should too, listener.
Oh, now you're killing me with this. We're talking Night Vale now, right?
All right. This is recorded for posterity.
Is it?
Future generations will see this in the archive.
Oh, especially now, if now your voice is going to be in there as well. All right. So.
Oh, don't play that game.
So I want you guys, if you haven't set up a GitHub account, I want you to go up on GitHub today. One of your lab requirements for today is to go up on GitHub and set up a GitHub account. So please, I don't want you all to set up your GitHub account. There should be just, whoever is going to be the director of your GitHub or your code base, that is the person that should be setting it up. Okay, so you guys have to decide that when that's happening, right? All right, so I don't want multiple accounts that I want you to link to me, right? Now you might have multiple accounts because you might each need a GitHub account so that way you can do a pull request, right? So that way you can add a feature to your code base. And we'll talk about how to do that later on. But the only link that I need is the master code base that I'm going to be getting for this semester. Okay, so that's one thing that I need.
So that should be under the group's name?
Yeah, so all the stuff, if you look on Blackboard, it tells you all the stuff that you require for the lab. And one of the things that I'm asking for is a GitHub link, right, for your project. Okay, so now what about GitHub? When you set up GitHub for the first time, if you don't pay for it, okay, it's a free service, but if you don't pay for it, all of your repos are public, right? And that's probably not a great thing for you, right? You might want to make your repo private. And the way to do that is there is an educational pack for GitHub, right? So if you go to this link here, and I'll just put this on Slack for you guys. So here's Slack. I'm just going to throw this on there as well. So this is the GitHub education pack. Any student can get these benefits. It's kind of cool. The great thing about this one is it gives you the ability, when you get your education pack, it gives you kind of a few things. One of them is it gives you unlimited private repos. Okay, that's really cool. Okay, and you can all get this, by the way. It doesn't have to just be one person. You get with Namecheap a free domain, right? Whenever I've done any kind of pitches, one thing that I've always wanted to do is kind of make something live, right? And I always want to kind of make a custom domain, especially for my web project, right? So it might be something you might want to think about from a production perspective. When you go live with your MVP, your minimum viable product, as we move forward, right? You may want to do it live on some website, and you may want to have a custom name for whatever the game that you're making, right? So this is a great opportunity. If you sign up with the GitHub educational pack, you can get a free domain name from Namecheap for a year. Okay. It also provides you a free SSL certificate if you want to be secure. Not sure if that makes any sense for you guys. Okay. But there's a lot of other stuff. If you actually look at the GitHub educational pack, it's kind of really, really cool. Okay, so that's one of the requirements. Any questions so far? So GitHub, you need to have your team members' names, like I said, in your lab. I want everyone's roles, right? Now, I have the lists, and I'm going to go around and kind of do a checklist with you guys. I'm not going to record the whole, 3 hours. Doesn't make any sense. But what I will be doing is the lab portion of our class, I'll go back and start recording that again. So what I want you to do right now is,
About the role scheme, we already did that on our game
I know.
design document. But do you want us to redo it or just send you the game design document?
If it's in your game design document and has all the names, that's great. But I want you to list them because what I'm going to do is whoever's in there, when you guys put together, everyone's going to get that 1%. It won't be just a leader, right? So please list them like in order. So here's your team name, and then who are your members and what are their roles. So put the kind of the role of each person next to them. Now, is there anybody missing today? So there might be some people that are missing, right? Please include them. Okay, it's going to be a kind of a free mark for them. But the great thing is you guys are a team. I want to say that again. You guys are a team. That means I don't want to know about team dirty laundry when it comes to you being a team. You keep that stuff in, all right? Team stuff is your own stuff. When you guys come up here and do your pitch, your presentations and all that kind of stuff, your game is the best game that's ever been created on the earth, all right? Okay, that's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear, yeah, here's my crappy game. I know we haven't really got this really well. It's not really cool at all, and it really sucks, right? That's not a great pitch for me as an investor, if I was an investor. And that's the way I want you to treat this. I want you to treat every release that we do together, every presentation you make, as an opportunity for somebody to invest in your company, okay? So if you take this seriously, it's going to be a great benefit to you, and it'll be, we can role play, if you will, that kind of scenario as if, you're making this for real. There might be an opportunity, especially in the end, the last day of class, so that would be week 15 or week 14, however you like to see it. where we might bring other people in to kind of look at your final product. So please be prepared for that. Okay, so it may not just be me up here. There might be some other guest speakers, might be some other people that come up. I do know people in the industry who make web games, who make mobile games and all that kind of stuff. There's a great opportunity for you guys to showcase your talent at the end, okay, as a team. One thing I also want to talk about before I stop recording for now, because I want to kind of go to your teams, and I want you to start doing that little lab exercise right away to get that all done and out of the way so it's done. And then we're going to go back and do the technical aspects, okay? But again, what I want you guys to always think about, I'm your mentor. That's what I'm going to be here for. I want to help you with your code, right? I want to help you do the best game you can. I've got experience making games, right? So if you're stuck, if you have a concept or something that you're trying to work out, run it by me. Is there anyone that doesn't want? I know I was talking to Alex. He said there might be some people who do not want to make a web game whatsoever.
Preserve the mystery.
I'm saying, right? Is there anyone like that who doesn't want to do that? Hopefully, none of you are like that, right? Because there's a great opportunity, right? Some people want to make a Unity game and they want to port a Unity game to the web with WebGL. Yeah, you can do it, but it won't be the same, all right? Unity is great from an iOS perspective. If you want to make an iOS game, an Android game, Unity is great, right? When it comes to full-blown 2D on the web, I'm not sure that I would use Unity. I would probably go with web tools, right? And there's a lot of really cool web tools. From a performance perspective, right? There's no way you can match JavaScript native, right? It's just not possible. The great thing about Unity, though, it allows you to kind of tie things in. If you want to make a platformer, yeah, Unity is way easier than doing it on your own because it includes a physics engine and everything else, right? Again, in this semester, my expectation is you're making a web game, not a C# game that you're converting to WebGL. Okay? Are we clear with that one?
Of course.
All right. Let's stop recording now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into your teams, and I want to see how you're organized in terms of. I want to kind of meet you guys a little bit and kind of get to know you a little bit. So we're going to do that for about 25 minutes, right? We'll take a short break after that, and then we'll get right into the meat and bones of the technical aspects of the stuff that I recommend for you guys. Okay?
Just to close it off, there are a lot of considerations for the different templates you use. But at the end of the day, it's important to lock down what engine you use thoroughly, because it's a lot easier to handle on one engine than if things don't end up hashing.
Okay, we'll talk about that. Okay. All right, thanks.